Yo, Lloyd like, hey, back up. In today's video, we're going to be trying Dragapult EX with Pidgeot EX. Now, the most I've played with Dragapult is just putting it into my discard pile when playing my Regidrago Vstar deck, and then copying its attack with that Apex Dragon from Regidrago Vstar. So today, we're actually going to play with the card itself, putting it into play instead of copying its attack. But before we jump into that deck list, if you guys are enjoying the content I've been making so far on the channel, don't forget to leave a like and smash the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Now let's jump right in to that deck list. Already here at that deck list with the star of our show, Dragapult EX, that Phantom Dive attack, 200 damage, put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like, which can be very helpful, not only hitting the active for a nice 200 damage, but being able to spread that 6 damage counters in any way you like across the bench, being able to take extra prizes in a turn potentially can be very helpful. Or just spreading those damage counters across the bench to set up for future KOs with that technical machine Devolution. Devolution, de-evolve each one of your opponent's evolved Pokemon by putting the highest stage evolution card on it into your opponent's hand. With decks like Gardevoir EX evolving from that 80 HP Curlia, decks like Charizard, that rare candy from Charmander into Charizard, this card can be very helpful. And of course, we also are all playing 2 copies of that Pidgeot EX with that ability Quick Search, being able to search your deck for any one card and then put it into your hand can be very helpful as well to try to find a lot of these 1 copies that we do have in the deck. Things like Roseanne's backup, being able to shuffle all different kinds of stuff back into the deck, a Pokemon, a tool, a stadium, and an energy card, which means we're going to be able to recycle that Neo Upper Energy. This card's attached to a stage 2 Pokemon. It provides every type of energy, but only provides 2 at a time, which works great with that Phantom Dive attack on our Dragapult EX. And then, of course, we are playing 3 copies of that Drakloak. We are playing 4 rare candy because sometimes we might have to rare candy that Dreepy into Drakloak, or into Dragapult, sorry, but that Drakloak with that Recon Directive, once during your turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand and the other on the bottom of your deck. So we're getting extra cards in our hand, being able to kind of thin the deck a little bit, which can be very helpful, and trying to find some key pieces that we may need that turn before we use our Quick Search ability. But with this deck here, we're playing more of a control type style with that Roseanne's backup, being able to recycle a bunch of stuff, the De-Evolution, the Enhanced Hammer we have in the deck, and things like that. We're also playing 1 copy of that Mela here. You can only use this card if one of your Pokemon are knocked out during your opponent's last turn, and attach a basic Fire Energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. If you do, draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. So not only are we getting the draw cards, but we're also powering up potentially a second Dragapult EX throughout the game, which can be very helpful because we are only playing 2 copies of that Fire Energy there, but it does also come in handy being able to draw some cards and then Quick Search after as well. So now let's jump right in to that gameplay. Already here at that Dragapult gameplay at the coin flip here. Unfortunately, we don't end up winning our coin flip, but the nice thing with this deck is going first is also great just as much as it is going second. Going first, we do get to evolve, of course, into our Dragapults or our Drakloaks and Pidgeots a lot faster, but going second allows us to be able to kind of set up a better bench and a better board state with those Buddy Poffins, being able to play a supporter and things like that. So we do end up seeing there with that mulligan that our opponent is on that Charizard EX here, playing that NTV as well. A little extra spice in the deck here. Gonna bench that Mew EX here, attach a Fire Energy to that NTV, fleet-footed, to draw a card here, and then pass to us. We're gonna have that Dreepy in the active. We're gonna have a pretty decent hand here. We're gonna be able to bench that Pidgey here, attach the Psychic Energy to that Dreepy. We're gonna be able to use that Arven and grab ourselves our Buddy Poffin and Forest Sealstone here. Buddy Poffin is going to grab me Dreepy and Pidgey, and then we're going to be able to either bench that Lumineon or find ourselves our Rotom V here, we're going to Ultra Ball away that Lumineon and the Defiance Band to find the Rotom, attach the Forest Seal Stone. So we're going to have access to that Star Alchemy, but I'm going to choose not to use that Star Alchemy at the moment and just hold on to it for any missing pieces that I may need later on, because it is safe from a KO at this moment. So we're just going to instant charge to draw 3 here. Our opponent gonna be able to rare candy into that Charizard EX here. Gonna be able to use that Infernal Rain, placing 3 fire energies to their Pokemon. So definitely 2 to the Charizard EX here. And they're gonna be able to also place 1 on that NTV if they'd like, to be able to use that Burning Rondo to definitely take KO on our Dreepy here. So exactly what they're going to do is put those energies there, play the Iono, getting us into 6 cards in our hand, which is not ideal, but we do still have that Star Alchemy from that Forest Seal Stone to kind of try to fix our hand a little bit here. They're going to bench another Charmander, use it capturing Aroma here to be able to find themselves that Radiant Greninja. A little bit of a spicy Charizard EX list here, but very fast, very aggressive, being able to set up 2 Charizard EXs on their second turn, and an NTV as well, being able to have that Mew for the restart and the concealed cards, having just literally so much energy in play. 2 on 2 different Charizard EXs, 2 on the Mew EX, and then 2 on an Entei here, just churning through that deck. Gonna be able to restart, get their hand to 3, Fleet Foot for 1, Burning Rondo for that 200 damage. If they would have had that Prime Catcher or something, being able to pull up our Rotom and then retreat out of the Mew back into the Entei, they could have KO'd our Rotom here, but that did not happen, fortunately enough for us. So we're going to rare candy into our Pidgeot here, attach a Psychic Energy to our Dreepy here, but I can't use that Mela quite yet because I don't have access to that Fire Energy from my discard pile. So we're just going to go into the Drakloak here, use that Recon Directive, being able to grab a Dragapult EX, and then put the Ultra Ball to the bottom here. I'm going to be able to also use that Star Alchemy this turn, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use that Star Alchemy, be able to search my deck for any 1 card. We're going to grab that Arven here, play the Arven to find myself a couple key cards. So we're going to be able to find ourselves into Counter Catcher and Technical Machine De-Evolution here. So I'm going to put the Technical Machine De-Evolution on the Drakloak, Counter Catcher, pull up the Radiant Greninja, and then De-Evolution all those Charizards back into Charmanders here, kind of just hoping that'll slow my opponent down a little bit. They've burned through 2 rare candies already, so they only can have 2 rare candies left at max in their deck. So I'm hoping that might be able to slow down my opponent a little bit here, trying to give me a little bit extra time to set up. They're going to play an Iono, putting us to 6, them to 5 here. We're going to get 2 Ionos, Rare Candy, Ultra Ball, Collapse Stadium, and that's exactly what happened. They couldn't do anything, so it's going to pass back to us here. Going to use that Recon Directive. We're going to grab ourselves that Rare Candy here. We're going to be able to evolve our Drakloak into Dragapult here, and then we're going to have access to Quick Search. We're going to have access to Iono, Collapse Stadium, and all these extra pieces. So now we're going to use the Iono here to hopefully find my way into a couple more pieces. We find our way into Buddy Poffin, so we're going to get a Dreepy from that and then be able to play another Dreepy from our hand here to kind of just set up our board state a little bit more. We're going to be able to have access to that Quick Search ability here. So we're going to be able to flick through the deck and just find any 1 card. We're going to find that Earthen Vessel here, pitching a Nest Ball to get the Fire Energy out of the deck here. And we've prized 2 Fire Energies and literally 1 Psychic Energy out of our deck, which is very unfortunate, but we're going to be able to take 2 prize cards here, KOing that Radiant Greninja and then putting 6 damage counters on that Charmander to take 2 prize cards, putting us at a 4-5 split here. But our opponent going to be able to put that Hero's Cape onto that NTV. I'm really grateful it's on the NTV and not a Charizard EX. 430 HP is a lot to overcome for any deck in this format. So putting that Hero's Cape on the Entei here, being able to attach an energy to the Mew EX, being able to potentially genome hacking, copying our Phantom Dive attack. So we're going to have to see what they cook up here. They're on a Fleet Foot, draw a card, Rare Candy into Charizard here. Going to have access to that Infernal Rain again. We're going to see if they have any energies left in their deck. And it looks like they do have some energies left in the deck here, but they also may have just played a Super Rod. So they're going to put an energy to the Mew EX, and then another one onto that Charmander here. And then they're going to be able to retreat out of that NTV, being able to put that Choice Belt on, and then putting the Mew EX in the active, being able to genome hacking, copying that Phantom Dive. Our Dragapult's going to take 200 damage, and then our Pidgey is probably going to end up getting KO'd, unfortunately, here, for our opponent to take at least one prize card here, and then putting himself in a position where 200 damage to the Dragapult is going to be pretty good. But we're going to be able to counter KO here, taking a KO on that Mew EX and that Charmander on the bench, if that's what we end up doing. So we're going to have to see here. We're going to have access to quite a bit this turn. I could Professor Turo's scenario and pick up our Dragapult, but I feel like that's not the greatest of option right now. I'm kind of thinking maybe I play Iono, but they only have 4 cards. They draw 4 cards, so we get an extra card if I were to do that. So we're just going to attach the Fire Energy to the Dreepy here. We're going to Ultra Ball, pitch the Pidgeot EX and that Nest Ball here to grab a Drakloak, be able to evolve our Dreepy into Drakloak, be able to use that Recon Directive to be able to grab 2 cards, look at the top 2, put 1 in the hand, 1 on the bottom, into another Drakloak, another Recon Directive here, going to be able to also get either Boss or that Ultra Ball. We're going to take the Boss's orders here, and the reason I take the Boss is because I'm going to try to be able to set up potentially for a future turn, but we're going to play the Iono, and the reason I play the Iono, and I was going to keep the Boss, because if you keep the Boss, then I'm in a position where I can just boss up Entei, hit it for 200, put 6 on something else, or anything like that. But if I can just thin more cards out of the deck, we're in a pretty good position. I could also just quick search here, being able to find myself any 1 card. So we're going to find that Super Rod here. We're going to put a couple things back. We got to get that Psychic Energy back into the deck. That's the only thing I'm going to pick is that Psychic Energy. So we're going to Phantom Dive, 200 to the active, 6 damage counters to that Charmander to take 2 more prize cards, putting us at a 2-4 split here, or sorry, a 1-4 split, because we are taking 3 prize cards, because that Mew EX does give 2 prize cards up. So we're in a really solid position here. We're gonna have to see what our opponent can cook up. Our Dragapult EX here in the active is definitely in danger. They're gonna hit it for 330 with that Burning Darkness attack. So we're going to have to see what we can do. If they end up having Boss's order or anything, we just lose because they can pull up that Rotom or our Pidgeot, and we are completely out of the water there. So we're going to have to attach the Psychic Energy to that Drakloak here, and we're going to have to Recon Directive, trying to find our way maybe into our Dragapult EX, which we do end up being able to find here. We do have an Ultra Ball in our hand, so we're just going to look, see what we want out of this. We're going to grab that Mela here, potentially being able to set up and draw some cards. So we're going to Ultra Ball, pitch the Neo Upper Energy and the Arven to find ourselves into Dragapult. And then I still have access to that quick search here, so I am going to quick search. And I wanted to be able to pull up with that counter catcher, but I'm ahead on prize cards, so I have to pull up the Boss, pull up the Entei V, and then Phantom Dive for 200 on the Entei, and then 6 counters on that Charizard. And this is kind of our route to victory here, because we can live a Burning Rondo attack, which playing that Collapse Stadium is going to limit the amount of damage that that Burning Rondo is going to do to our Dragapult. But if they can find a way out of that Entei into the Charizard, we're unfortunately going to lose this game. So we need to have a little bit of luck on our side and be able to hopefully have them just not have a switch effect out of that Entei into the Charizard here. Come from an attach for turn onto that Entei V. We're going to play a Chorus Experiment. We need not a switch or a switch card or a Prime Catcher. So we're going to have to see what they got here. Capturing Aroma, being able to flip a coin. Heads are going to get themselves an Evolution. Not exactly what they were hoping for. Maybe looking for that Tails to try to find, I don't know, any one thing. They're going to bench 2 Mew X's and a Charmander, just trying to thin the hand a little bit here, trying to get down to less than 3 cards so they can use that restart ability to be able to draw some more, to try to find a way out of that Entei V, hopefully. But if they can't, we do have win on board here. They're going to Burning Rondo for 180, pass back to us. We're going to be able to Phantom Dive here for the KO, KOing that Entei V, and just for good measure, putting the 6 damage counters on that Charmander, taking 3 more prize cards, which is incredible. Getting that Roseanne's back up off the prize cards there. Incredible being able to cook up and just pull out an incredible win with that Dragapult Pidgeot deck. I've been having tons of fun with this deck. And big shout out to my girlfriend Palace, who was the one that like, you should really try Dragapult. I think you would have a great time. And she was absolutely right. This deck is tons of fun to play. Now let's jump right in to that outro. Alrighty, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed the content I've been making so far on the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. And I'll make sure to put the deck list that I played in today's video in the description below. So you guys want to try it out for yourself, you'll be able to. I also had put together a Mega Blitz Discord for all of you guys to join as well. And I'm thinking about maybe holding a like subscriber type tournament at some point in the future. So if something you guys are interested in, don't forget to definitely join the Discord. Link is also in the description below for that as well. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!